Welcome to the proposal course. My name is Sam, I'm your instructor. I'm also a destination wedding photographer based out of Arizona, but I do travel worldwide and photograph pretty much proposal everywhere. Throughout my career, I've photographed so many proposals, and I just want to compile them into a digestible course for you guys that are a little bit busy and don't have time to plan, or confused of how to plan the proposal and how to keep it a secret. So the things that you can learn in this course are gonna make your proposal go very smoothly and hopefully a very good experience to the point where you say yes. Let's get right into it. I don't want to beat around the bush. The first thing first is how to pick a location. Picking a location is very important depending on the type of couple you are. You guys might prefer one way or the other, but here's the breakdown of it. There are three things to consider when picking a location. One is beauty, second is accessibility, and third is the crowd. When it comes to beauty, what I meant by this is like how beautiful it is, how stunning the sunset is, like how epic the view is. The second thing is accessibility. And accessibility, what I mean by this is it hard to get to? Do I have to wake up super early to get there? Is it gonna be full of like awful animal that's trying to kill you while you get to the location? Is it like a hard hiking trail? Do we have to buy tickets to get into those places? Do you need permits? Is there like limits amount of people who can visit this place? A very fancy restaurant that hard to get into, a really hard hike that you gotta hike like 5-6 miles up, the wave in Arizona where there's a certain amount of permits you can get into, and it's hard unless you won like the lottery to get in. Next is the crowd. Pretty easy to understand here. Essentially it's just how many people are gonna be there. So if it's somewhere that's beautiful and easily accessible, there are gonna be tons of people there because it's easily accessible and it's beautiful and everybody wanna be there. Basically, you can have about 2 out of all these 3 things. If you want somewhere it's beautiful and less crowded, you're gonna have to work a little harder with your accessibility, or you might have to hike quite a while to the top of the mountain during sunrise to get that epic shot. So all this thing is to say it's up to you to decide what's important to you. Is the beauty more important? Is intimacy really important? Or is the ease of going there more important to you? And also depends on your partner. Is your partner someone that loves to hike and don't mind hiking 3-4 miles up the mountain to a really beautiful sunset spot? Or is your partner somewhere that's more easygoing, don't like to hike, like to get their nails done, and like to be indoor? Then you probably don't want it to be super complicated to get to. If your partner hates a crowd, like very shy, then you probably don't want to propose her in front of thousands of people in like a stadium or something like that. Figure it out what your partner's like, what you guys are like, and then figure out which 2 of these 3 values are really important to you. Bonus tip, here's a little bit of a hack. You can actually have all 3 of these. You can have somewhere that's beautiful, easy to access to, and doesn't have a lot of crowd. But there's an outside factor. And that's money. So you can hire a professional photographer that's in the local area to figure it out, or you can pay a planner to set up everything for you. You can reserve an entire restaurant to yourself, so therefore it's really intimate. You can rent an off-road Jeep, therefore you don't have to hike the entire way up there, or you can like rent a helicopter to fly you to a remote destination that's really beautiful. So hopefully that cleared things up as far as like picking your location go. Now let's talk about the best time and day to propose. There's a few factors when it comes to this. Let's start small. Let's start with time of days. A, sunrise. B is middle of the day, and C is sunset, and D is nighttime. So let's start with A, sunrise. There are gonna be a lot of people who love this option because A, you gotta wake up really early. Your partner might be very groggy and might not want to just wake up. Sunrise is beautiful though, and it tends to have less crowd because not a lot of people willing to wake up for sunrise. So if you want to go somewhere that's a little bit more a mainstream location, like a lookout in Yosemite, waking up for sunrise might be a good option for you. But also remember, it's Yosemite and it's really popular. So even though you wake up for sunrise, you're still gonna have a bunch of people, especially photographer, that's gonna be out there trying to catch this sunrise over the horizon or something. So sunrise is a hit and miss, depends on the location. The good thing about sunrise though is that once you propose, you can pretty much have an entire day to enjoy each other and maybe have an after party afterward. Next is during the middle of the day. The middle of the day is where I would avoid if you guys try to be outside because the lighting is very harsh. You're not gonna get a good photo on that. There are gonna be tons of people though, so watch out for that if you are the shyer type. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not my favorite time of day, to be honest, because it's not really romantic. It's kind of boring. Lighting's kind of shit. But that's coming from a photographer. The only good thing about midday is if it's cloudy. If it's cloudy, then you're gonna have some really good soft lighting on your face. Next is sunset. Sunset is usually my favorite time of day, period. Because A, you guys can get ready. You guys are not groggy. There is one caveat, is that it can get a little bit crowded because again, everybody's up and awake. They want to go see beautiful sunset, so therefore there might be tons of people. Afterward, you can still go to family events at the end, and that's still gonna be fine. Nighttime. Nighttime is good. I would prefer that indoor just because there aren't a lot of lights outside. Unless you're in like Chicago or New York or something like that, then nighttime might be a good idea. This is really popular among like Christmas time or like New Year time when like the ball drop and you propose. You also won't have a lot of time left at the end of the day to kind of FaceTime your friends and family, host an event, things like that. So if you're not planning on doing an event afterward, nighttime might be a good idea for you. If I were to rank all of these into tiers, sunset is number 1, then followed by midday or nighttime, and then sunrise. Because again, waking up is extremely hard for most people. Okay, perfect. Now that we covered the time of day, let's cover the time of the week. Which day of the week is best to propose? I'm gonna just categorize it into 2 things. Weekdays and weekend. Weekdays is Monday through Thursday, and weekends is Friday through Sunday. On weekends, again, you are gonna be faced with lots of crowd. If you guys go into a public space, it's gonna be a little bit more crowded. If you guys are trying to do family dinner, engagement party afterward, people are usually more available during weekends. The third thing is it's bad for photographers' availability because this weekend, most photographers have that reserved for weddings. If you reach out to the photographer a month or a few weeks before the date that you're trying to propose on weekends, they're usually more acceptable. Susceptible. Oh my god, I can't say. What is it again? Susceptible. Yeah, there we go. Susceptible to take your guys' proposal. Next is the weekday. The weekday is usually less crowded, but your family might not be available for your engagement party afterward. But it's good for photographers' availabilities. Usually when it comes to like photographer that shoot engagement and wedding, we like to shoot their engagement photos and proposal photos on weekdays. All right, let's zoom out one more time and take a look at some of the seasons. What's the best season for proposal? Let's talk about summer. Summer is great. The weather is nice and warm, except in Arizona or like a hotter state. Not a lot of chance when it comes to rain. Therefore, if you guys planning on doing your proposal outside, I think summer is good. But again, depending on where you're at, it can get really hot and therefore you can get sweaty, and sweaty faces doesn't really look good on camera. No one want to look like they just jump into a lake when they're not wet. Next is fall and spring. These are a little bit more of a mild weather. You have more option when it comes to like things to wear. You can wear like long sleeve. You can wear, like pants and like cute hats and whatever. This is where I recommend the couple do the proposal. I would say this is top tier. Next is winter. Again, depending on where you at, the winter can be a little bit more brutal outside. So doing that indoor is usually ideal, unless you're in Arizona. Arizona winter is so cool. It's great. Like the weather is pristine. A little bonus tip. Usually winter, like during Christmas time and New Year time and Valentine's, this is like the busy time to do like a proposal. So if you guys are planning on hiring a photographer to do your proposal, be mindful that this is usually a pretty busy month when it comes to proposal and people getting engaged and stuff like that. So reach out as soon as you can. Before we get into the bread and butter, which is how to keep it a secret, I'm gonna tackle some of these questions real quick. What do you say when proposing? It is up to you, but I recommend you take your time, take a nice deep breath. A good sweet spot is about 30 seconds to 45 seconds, and that's because it gives us the photographer time to capture you guys when you go on your knee, and also find another angle for her reaction as well. Because if it's too fast, then it's just not gonna give us a lot of time to get all those moments. And it only happened once. Take your time, enjoy it, don't rush it, just take a nice deep breath. You can just say, "Will you marry me?" You can just literally say that, but take your time. Let that anticipation kind of build. Next is, which knee do I kneel down? Do I knee down? Left knee down, right knee up, left hand hold the ring box, right hand open the ring box. But again, This is really not a big deal. If you switch knees, she's not gonna say no if you put the wrong knee on. Usually you don't want to put both knees down because it looks like you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing to your partner. Do I put a ring on her finger after I propose? Yes, you do, because you don't want to drop them or lose them. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me via my Instagram at fearlesselopement or my website at fearlesselopement.com. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the bread and butter, how to keep it a secret. For some reason, we have this obsession that we want to keep the proposal a secret. Let me tell you right now, it does not need to be. But because it's so much fun to see your partner eyes light up and full of joy, a surprise proposal is usually a fun way to ask that question. First, let me tell you about this right here graph that I draw. I'm not really a good drawer. This graph right here is representing where you want to be. You don't want her to expect it's coming on this date and this time because again, she's not surprised and the reaction won't be as good. But also at the same time, you don't want to be all the way on this side of the spectrum where she's totally in shock. She's like, fuck, I'm not ready for this. My nail isn't done, my makeup isn't done, my hair isn't done. I'm just not feeling good that day. I'm really bloated. Like I'm just not in a really bad mood. And like, honestly, I don't even know. Like we just been dating for like, what, like 2 hours and shock. Not good, not good. What you want is somewhere a little bit on like in between. Basically at the tippy top is when she's surprised. But to get there, you need a little bit of something called anticipation. Just like a movie, right? When you watch a good movie, you kind of have this anticipation of this might happen and then it pays off at the end. So the first thing is you gotta understand that you can't keep it a secret from your partner, especially girls. Girls have ways of knowing that it's coming. I don't know if like you guys have like sixth sense or something like that. Females are so in tune with like body language and how you act. So essentially what I'm trying to say is you can't quite keep it a total secret. She's gonna know that you're gonna propose, but she might not know when. And that is where the magic happened. She knows that it's coming at some point, maybe this year, maybe this month, but she might not know exactly when, but she knows it will happen. And that's where anticipation built up. And that's when you're gonna get a good surprise. So without further ado, let's dive into some of these factors that make it a surprise, a good surprise. One is the number of people that you tell. Now, obviously, this is totally up to you, but the more people you tell, the more chance the bean will get to go. Especially her chatty friends. If she have really chatty friends that can't keep a secret, I would recommend you not tell her. It's gonna ruin the surprise. Pick and choose who you trust and don't trust. But I will let you know right now, the more people you tell, the more stressful you're gonna feel. Because if you tell 30 people, that's a lot of people, you might be like, oh my god, maybe just Jenna is gonna tell, she's gonna act all suspicious. So the less people you tell, the less stressed you will be. Holding a secret for a long time can be very, very stressful on you. Next is normalities and your behavior. So if you're doing something that is totally out of the blue, like, hey babe, we're going to the Bahamas for our like 5th year anniversary, and you're acting really weird, she's gonna know something is up. If you're doing something out of the norm, she's gonna figure it out. So the way that we counter this is we use something called a decoy. Basically, instead of telling her that, hey, we're gonna go to the Bahamas this weekend on our 5th year anniversary, instead of saying that, just say, hey babe, on our 5th year anniversary, that date, we're actually gonna have a 5th year anniversary month. This month is gonna be a month where we celebrate our 5th year anniversary, and we're gonna go to a really cool restaurant. We're gonna take a weekend trip to your parents. We're gonna go visit your childhood like places. We're gonna go where we met. We're gonna go to a really cool vacation. We're going to Disneyland. We're going to a different country. Just putting a bunch of decoys of like, this is where I could propose to you, but you're never gonna know. It makes her anticipate that it's coming, but she have no idea when it's gonna be. This is good for another thing, which is it keeps her on her toe, meaning that she'll have her nails done. I don't know, something about nails, man. Like I don't understand. For girls, they're really important. Another good thing about a decoy is that if plan A fall through, like let's say you're planning on proposing to her at your like where you guys met, but that didn't work out because the rain happened, you still have other options. Like you go into a trip to Sedona, you have a weekend trip with your parents coming up, you have, you know, another trip to Disneyland. So there's other options that you can potentially propose to her without stressing you out, because again, having plan B, C, and D is also a great option. If you just limit yourself to just like this one location, at this specific time, you're gonna stress yourself out a little bit. But if that is something that you want to do, because most people, like, they have the vision of what they want, but they want to make sure they go as smooth as possible, I would suggest hire a professional to help you plan your proposal. You don't have to take my word for it. Here are some of the things that couple said about their proposal experience, and which I have to look up because I honestly don't remember. Finding the time away from your significant other can be tricky. Sam was incredibly flexible, taking phone calls once I go to the grocery store, gym, wherever needed. We even began to communicate via WhatsApp to be extra discreet, which is another bonus tip you guys made this far, this little nugget. Sometimes your significant other will check your phone, so WhatsApp is a great place to communicate with me, the photographer. We also hop on a Zoom session with Google Earth to discuss location, position of the day, time of the day for the optimal lighting, and other necessary details to pulling off a surprise proposal in an area with no cell service. He also said I don't consider myself photogenic or even know how to pose for pictures, but Sam came with all the tricks to put you at ease, and we got incredible shot. First order of business for wedding planning is make sure Sam is available. Thank you, Matthew. High five. All right. He's not here right now, but I would high five him. Again, if all these sound good and dandy to you, reach out to me at Fearless Elopement or fearlesselopement.com. I pretty much do proposal, weddings, engagement around the country. Yosemite, California, Washington State, Oregon, Chicago, all those places. And I love to travel. So don't hesitate if you guys live in a different state, but I am currently local in Arizona. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope this has been helpful. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.